Hello, my dear friends. Imagine stepping into a world where the air is thick with the smell of wet paint and linseed oil, where the soft light filtering through tall, narrow windows illuminates a canvas waiting to come alive. You're surrounded by a quiet hum of creativity, a sanctuary of brushstrokes and pigments. It's a serene life, seemingly untouched by the chaos of the outside world. But, as with many tales of beauty, there's a hidden darkness lurking beneath the surface. You probably once survived this revelation about the surprisingly relaxed lives of 16th century Dutch painters. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Picture yourself in a cozy, dimly lit workshop, surrounded by canvases and pigments. The charm of this artist's life beckons you closer, yet, as you step into their world, you realize it is not as idyllic as it first appears. The allure of the 16th century Dutch painters is undeniable. They are celebrated for the stunning beauty of their work, capturing the essence of everyday life and the splendor of their landscapes. In this golden age of art, these painters are often viewed as the elite, basking in the glow of societal admiration and financial success. However, this glamorous illusion is only a thin veil over the shocking reality of their existence. While these artists enjoyed a certain level of respect and recognition, they were also navigating a landscape fraught with instability. The ongoing political conflicts, such as the 80 Years' War, created an atmosphere of tension. The Dutch Republic was emerging, asserting its independence from Spanish rule, and this struggle seeped into the very fabric of life, influencing everything from personal aspirations to artistic expression. The painters were caught in a whirlwind of competing loyalties and ideologies, which often translated into their work. Imagine the pressure on these artists to produce pieces that not only reflected their talent but also aligned with the ever-changing sentiments of their patrons, wealthy merchants and nobility who commissioned their art. The stakes were high. A painting could make or break an artist's career, and they were all too aware of this precarious balance. Yet, despite the turmoil of their times, many Dutch painters found a way to create a semblance of tranquility in their lives. They often had dedicated studios, filled with the tools of their trade, brushes of varying sizes, palettes smeared with rich colors and canvases stretched taut, ready to be transformed. This environment fostered a routine that allowed them to immerse themselves in their art, providing a welcome escape from the chaos of politics and war. As you drift deeper into this world, envision the sounds of the workshop's soft brush against the canvas, the gentle clink of glass jars filled with pigments, and the distant murmur of life outside. It's almost hypnotic, drawing you into a state of calm resignation amidst the storm. Yet, while the studio may be a sanctuary, it also held secrets that would shock you. Many of the materials used by these artists were anything but benign. The pigments that created those vibrant hues often contained toxic substances. For instance, lead white, a common white pigment, was not only hazardous to the health of the artists, but could also distort their perceptions of color. Imagine a painter, entranced by their craft, unknowingly poisoning themselves with every brushstroke. This grim reality was an accepted part of the artistic process, a trade-off for the beauty they created. Understanding this, it's clear that the 16th century Dutch painters had a different worldview, one that valued the end result over the potential risks involved. The art they produced was a reflection of their time, a juxtaposition of elegance and danger, beauty and toxicity. So, as you settle into this narrative, keep in mind the delicate balance these artists maintained. Their lives were a tapestry of serene moments woven together with strands of chaos and peril, creating a complex picture that reveals much about the nature of art and the human experience. Now that we've set the stage with this rich tapestry of tranquility and turmoil, let's turn our attention to the bustling world beyond the canvas, where the chaos of the Dutch Golden Age shaped the lives and works of these artists. As you take a deep breath, allowing the scents of oil paint and wood varnish to envelop you, let your imagination wander beyond the confines of the painter's studio. Picture the vibrant streets of 16th century Dutch cities, where a cacophony of voices fills the air and the hustle and bustle of daily life contrasts sharply with the peaceful solitude of the artist's workshop. This is the backdrop against which our painters created their masterpieces, a chaotic world filled with political strife and religious conflict that shaped the very essence of their art. The Dutch Golden Age was not merely a time of flourishing creativity, it was also marked by the tensions of the 80 Years' War, a protracted struggle for independence from Spanish rule. Imagine the atmosphere thick with uncertain time, merchants, soldiers and artists alike navigating their lives in a society defined by its resistance to tyranny. The streets are alive with the sounds of clashing swords and impassioned debates, as citizens rally for their beliefs and freedoms. Within this tumult, the painters found themselves at a crossroads, balancing the need to express their individuality while remaining loyal to the societal currents that surrounded them. Their art became a refuge, a means of escaping the chaos outside and delving into their own minds and imaginations. However, the reality is that the turbulence of their times often seeped into their work, shaping themes and perspectives that reflected the struggles of the era. Consider the artwork of the time, filled with depictions of everyday life, landscapes and still lifes. These paintings seem serene, capturing moments of beauty amidst strife. Yet, the very act of portraying domestic tranquility was in itself a political statement, a silent rebellion against the chaos that threatened to engulf them. The artists consciously chose to highlight the beauty of ordinary life as a way to assert their identity and celebrate the emerging sense of national pride. Amidst this backdrop, many painters worked in collaborative workshops, places buzzing with creativity and rivalry. Imagine a large room filled with canvases in various stages of completion, artists sharing ideas, techniques, and even criticism. The camaraderie among these painters fostered innovation, pushing each artist to explore new styles and subjects. However, the competition was fierce, and these artists were acutely aware of their standing within this creative community. Picture a young artist, eager to make a name for himself, watching as his more established peers effortlessly capture the attention of wealthy patrons. He is driven not only by passion, but also by the desire for recognition and financial stability. The stakes were high. An artist's success could lead to commissions that not only supported their livelihood, but also elevated their social standing. In this environment, the pressure to perform was palpable, forcing artists to navigate their creative expressions through the lens of societal expectations. Yet, the allure of success was often tempered by the reality of limited opportunities. The art market was a complex web of patronage where wealthy merchants and aristocrats dictated the terms. These patrons wielded significant influence, often commissioning works that aligned with their own desires, be it religious themes, portraits, or still lifes showcasing their wealth. The shocking reality here is that the painters were not only artists, they were also entrepreneurs, negotiating their worth in a world that valued status over skill. Imagine the frustration of an artist who poured their heart into a piece, only to have it dismissed because it did not align with the whims of a wealthy patron. This grim reality forced many painters to compromise their artistic integrity in order to secure financial stability. The art they created, while technically impressive, sometimes lacked the authenticity that came from pure self-expression. Instead, they crafted works that would sell, surrendering pieces of their soul to meet the demands of the marketplace. This tension between personal expression and commercial success created a sense of duality in their lives. On one hand, they were celebrated as masters of their craft, revered for their technical skill and innovative approaches. On the other hand, they struggled with the knowledge that their freedom to create was often shackled by the expectations of their patrons and the societal norms of the day. As you continue to immerse yourself in this world, you begin to understand the contradictions that defined the lives of 16th-century Dutch painters. They were both revered and constrained, navigating the fine line between artistic vision and commercial viability. The beauty they captured on canvas was often a reflection of their inner turmoil, a testament to their resilience in the face of adversity. This intricate dance of creation and compromise sets the stage for our next exploration, a deeper look at the very materials these artists used to bring their visions to life. From the vibrant pigments that dazzled the eye to the toxic substances that could endanger their health, the story of the materials reveals yet another layer of complexity in the lives of these painters. As you settle deeper into the comforting embrace of this historical narrative, let your mind wander to the vibrant colours that danced across the canvases of 16th-century Dutch painters. The exquisite beauty of their artworks dazzles the eye, drawing you into a world of lush landscapes, intricate still lifes, and poignant portraits. But as you admire these breathtaking creations, it's essential to peel back the layers of glamour and uncover the shocking reality that lurked behind those exquisite surfaces. The glamorous illusion is that these artists were able to effortlessly conjure brilliance with their brushes, creating masterpieces that seemed to flow from their very fingertips. The public perception of painters like Rembrandt and Vermeer was that they were almost divinely inspired, gifted individuals who had been blessed with a rare talent that distinguished them from the masses. Their works were celebrated across Europe, often fetching astronomical prices at the time, an indication of their status and success. However, the shocking reality is that the materials they employed to create these dazzling works were often fraught with peril. The vibrant reds, deep blues, and rich yellows that brought their paintings to life were not just the result of natural minerals, they were derived from a cocktail of toxic substances, some of which would send shivers down your spine if you knew their true origins. Take, for instance, the striking color known as vermilion, a brilliant red pigment derived from the mineral cinnabar. While it offered a stunning vibrancy that could make a painting leap to life, it was also highly toxic. Imagine a painter, captivated by the alluring hue, diligently grinding the cinnabar into a fine powder without any awareness of the potential dangers it posed to his health. With every stroke of the brush, he exposed himself to the risks of inhaling toxic dust, all in the pursuit of beauty. And then there's the infamous Paris green, a vivid green pigment that was once the delight of artists, but was notorious for its arsenic content. The irony is striking. While painters used this brilliant hue to depict lush landscapes and verdant foliage, they were unwittingly embedding poison into their creations. These hidden dangers reveal a stark contrast to the serene and elegant worlds depicted in their art, reminding us that beauty often comes at a price. The reason such hazardous materials were so commonly used lies deeply rooted in the worldview of the time. The Renaissance and the subsequent Dutch Golden Age were characterized by a relentless pursuit of knowledge, discovery, and innovation. The thrill of scientific exploration led to the development of new techniques and materials, yet the implications of these discoveries were often overlooked. In a world where the artist's reputation hinged on their ability to produce stunning works, the allure of vibrant pigments overshadowed the potential health risks. Imagine the conversations that would occur in the workshops, a blend of excitement and ignorance as artists shared their newest discoveries. "Have you tried this new color?" one might exclaim, presenting a jar of vibrant paint without any consideration of its toxicity. For these painters, the priority was to dazzle patrons and captivate audiences, often without regard for their own well-being. As you take in this reality, you can almost hear the clinking of glass jars and the swishing of brushes in the background, a rhythmic reminder of the artistic process. The workshop is alive with energy, but beneath that vibrant facade lies a sobering truth. The very materials that enabled these artists to create their masterpieces also contributed to an underlying fragility in their lives. This interplay between beauty and danger permeated every aspect of their work, creating a dichotomy that is impossible to ignore. The paintings they produced were not merely reflections of their artistic genius, they were also artifacts of a time when the pursuit of beauty often overshadowed the consequences of creativity. As you contemplate this harsh reality, remember that the mysterious allure of those colorful canvases was painted with the brush of mortality itself. It's a poignant reminder that the elegant veneer of art can conceal the hidden perils that accompany the creative process. With this knowledge in hand, you're now equipped to witness the intricate relationships that flourished between artists and their patrons. This dynamic not only influenced the art produced but also shaped the very fabric of Dutch society at the time. Let's explore the secret lives of the wealthy individuals who helped mold the artistic landscape of the 16th century. As you continue to immerse yourself in the vibrant tapestry of 16th century Dutch art, let's shift our focus to the influential patrons who played a crucial role in shaping the artistic landscape. Picture yourself in the opulent homes of wealthy merchants and aristocrats, where lavish banquets and conversations about art and culture echo through the halls. Here, amidst the grandeur and excess, the relationships between artists and patrons unfold, revealing a complex web of mutual dependence and hidden agendas. The glamorous illusion surrounding these patrons is that they were benevolent supporters of the arts, selflessly commissioning works to elevate the cultural status of their society. They are often romanticized as the driving force behind the flourishing art scene, generously backing talented painters and providing them with the means to create. In this narrative, the patrons are viewed as the champions of culture, their lavish lifestyles seemingly dedicated to fostering artistic brilliance. However, the shocking reality is that these patrons were often motivated by much more than a mere appreciation for art. Their support came with strings attached, as they sought to wield influence and assert their social standing through the artworks they commissioned. The relationship between artist and patron was a delicate dance, marked by expectation and obligation. Imagine the pressure on a painter who receives a commission from a wealthy merchant. The artist must not only produce a piece that showcases their skill but also create something that aligns with the desires and aspirations of their sponsor. This dynamic often resulted in a tug-of-war between artistic integrity and commercial viability. The artist's vision was frequently compromised, shaped by the whims of the one who held the purse strings. For instance, consider a merchant keen to display his wealth and status through a grand portrait. He envisions himself immortalized on canvas, draped in opulent fabrics and surrounded by symbols of his prosperity: a gleaming goblet, a finely woven tapestry, perhaps even an exotic pet. The painter, aware that the merchant's livelihood hinges on this commission, finds himself negotiating the fine line between artistic expression and the patron's expectations. The reality is that the artist often had to sacrifice their creative instincts to appease the demands of their wealthy sponsors. This resulted in a type of art that, while impressive, might lack the authenticity and emotional depth that would emerge from a personal vision. As you picture the artist standing in front of a blank canvas, the weight of expectation pressing down on him, you can sense the tension between aspiration and obligation. Furthermore, this relationship was not merely transactional, it was imbued with social and political implications. Many patrons used art as a tool to reinforce their status within the community. By commissioning works from renowned painters, they sought to cultivate an image of sophistication and refinement, ensuring their place in the upper echelons of society. Art became a means of social currency, a way to bolster one's reputation, while simultaneously supporting the artists who contributed to their cultural legacy. In addition to these motivations, the patrons were often entangled in the intricate politics of the time. They navigated a society marked by religious divisions and shifting allegiances, causing them to select themes for their commissioned pieces that aligned with their own beliefs or societal expectations. Thus, the art they supported often served as a reflection not only of their personal tastes, but also of the larger socio-political landscape. As you envision the opulent salons filled with art, consider the hidden narratives behind each piece. The paintings that grace these walls are not merely decorative, they are laden with stories of ambition, desire and power. Every brushstroke is a testament to the complex relationships that defined the art world of the time, a world where the line between patron and artist blurred, giving way to a partnership forged in expectation and compromise. Now, as you absorb the nuances of this symbiotic relationship, let's turn our attention to the bustling workshops where these masterpieces were born. Step inside the lovely environment where artists gathered, sharing ideas, techniques and the joys of creation, but also confronting the competitive nature that defined their craft. In this space, the true dynamics of artistic collaboration and rivalry come to life, revealing yet another layer of the Dutch artistic experience. As you step into the vibrant world of the artists' workshops, imagine the sight and sound of creativity in full swing. The air is thick with the scents of linseed oil and turpentine, mingling with the earthy aroma of pigments being ground on stone slabs. You can hear the rhythm of brushes sweeping across canvases, the occasional chuckle of camaraderie, and the debated whispers of artistic critique filling the space. This workshop is not just a studio, it's a crucible of ideas, a dynamic environment where collaboration and competition fuel the creative process. The glamorous illusion of these workshops is that they were idyllic havens of artistic inspiration, where great minds gathered to create masterpieces under the glow of natural light. In this romanticized version, the artists are depicted as free spirits, working side by side in a perfect harmony of creativity. They share techniques, exchange ideas, and elevate one another's work in a nurturing environment, a painter's paradise, brimming with enthusiasm and innovation. However, the shocking reality of these workshops is that they were often rife with tension, backbiting, and fierce competition. The artistic community was not merely a collective of friends, it was also a battleground where reputations were on the line, and the quest for recognition could turn allies into rivals. Picture an artist struggling to draw attention to his work while watching his peers gain acclaim and commissions. The pressure to outperform one another could lead to an atmosphere of rivalry that stifled the generosity of spirit often attributed to these creative spaces. For many artists, the workshop environment served as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it provided an opportunity for collaboration and the sharing of techniques that could enhance their craft. Imagine the thrill of learning a new brush stroke from a fellow painter, the excitement of discovering innovative approaches to color mixing. Yet, on the other hand, the shadow of competition loomed large. Every artist in the workshop was acutely aware that their success hinged not only on their talent but also on their ability to stand out in a crowded field. Within this realm, the traditional hierarchy of mentorship and apprenticeships played a significant role. Established artists often took on apprentices, young, eager talents longing to learn the trade. This relationship could be mutually beneficial. Apprentices gained invaluable experience while artists received assistance and fresh ideas. However, the pressure to impress could lead to a cutthroat atmosphere. An apprentice striving to prove his worth might find himself under intense scrutiny, pushing him to work beyond his limits, driven by the fear of falling short of expectations. Consider the artist who, in a moment of desperation, resorts to adopting the style or techniques of his mentors in an attempt to gain favor. This dynamic reveals a paradox. While collaboration can lead to artistic growth, it can also result in a dilution of one's unique voice. The workshop, meant to be a place of exploration, can inadvertently stifle individual expression. As you visualize the canvases on the walls, each representing the unique style of its creator. Remember that these works are not just artifacts of talent, they are also products of an environment shaped by the dual forces of collaboration and competition. Moreover, the crowded workshop often meant limited resources, resulting in further tensions among artists. Picture the scene. A painter reaches for a specific pigment only to find it has been depleted by a colleague. The frustration simmers beneath the surface, creating a palpable sense of rivalry. Each artist is vying not only for recognition, but also for the very tools that enable them to create. This scarcity influenced their work, forcing them to adapt and innovate, often leading to unexpected breakthroughs. Yet, amidst the competition, there were moments of genuine support and camaraderie. When one artist achieved success, it served as motivation for others, inspiring them to push their boundaries. The delicate balance between rivalry and friendship fostered a sense of community, as artists recognized that their individual successes contributed to the collective glory of Dutch art. As you absorb the complexities of life in the workshops, remember that this world was a living organism, constantly evolving and adapting. Each artist brought their unique perspective, influencing the direction of their collective efforts while also grappling with the pressures that came with the territory. Now, having explored the intricate dynamics of collaboration and competition within the workshops, let's delve into the often overlooked contributions of women in the art world. Their presence, while sometimes obscured by the narratives of their male counterparts, played a significant role in shaping the artistic landscape of the 16th century. Prepare to uncover the hidden stories of female artists who navigated the complexities of a male-dominated field while making significant contributions to art. As you step into the world of 16th century Dutch art, let your gaze widen to encompass the remarkable yet often overlooked contributions of women artists. Imagine the bustling studios, filled with the vibrant chaos of creativity, yet in the shadows stand women quietly honing their craft, battling against the tides of societal constraints. Although history has often relegated them to the periphery, these women were not mere muses or passive figures. They were active participants, shaping the artistic landscape in significant ways. The glamorous illusion is that the world of fine art was an exclusive domain reserved for men, a realm where only the bravest and most talented could thrive. The dominant narrative has often painted female artists as rare exceptions, mere footnotes in the grand history of art. Yet, the truth is far more complicated and inspiring. Women in the 16th century played a vital role, often working within the confines of societal norms that sought to restrict them. Take, for example, the remarkable figure of Judith Leyster, a talented painter who gained recognition for her vibrant genre scenes and portraits. Visualize her in her workshop, mixing colors and capturing the essence of everyday life with a deft hand, a true master of her craft. Leyster's success was not merely a fluke. She was a member of the Harlem Guild, one of the first women to be accepted into a professional artists' organization. Her ability to navigate the male-dominated art world was a testament to her skill and determination. However, the shocking reality is that for every Judith Leyster, there were countless other women whose names have been lost to history, overshadowed by their male counterparts. The societal structures of the time often dictated that women could not pursue art as a profession in the same way men could. Many female artists were confined to domestic spaces, their talents nurtured only in the quiet corners of their homes. Family obligations and societal expectations limited their ability to fully engage with the art world, often relegating their work to the status of hobby or genteel pastime. In this context, it's essential to understand the challenges women faced. Female artists often had to forge their paths through subterfuge and innovation. Some managed to gain recognition by collaborating with male family members, using their connections to navigate the competitive landscape. Others, however, faced harsh criticism and skepticism, their abilities dismissed simply because of their gender. Imagine the frustration of a talented woman, pouring her heart into her art, only to be told that she could never truly master the craft because she was a woman. Despite these circumstances, women found ways to create and establish their voices. Many became highly skilled in still life painting, an area that allowed them to work from home and often reflected their domestic lives. The subjects of their painting, flowers, fruits, and everyday household items, seemed innocuous enough, yet these works often contained layers of meaning, subtly commenting on the roles of women within society. Take a moment to consider the powerful symbolism present in these still lifes. While they appear simple at first glance, they often reflect themes of fertility, abundance, and the transient nature of life, concepts deeply embedded in the female experience. By infusing their work with personal and societal commentary, women artists were able to challenge the status quo, asserting their rightful place within the artistic narrative. Additionally, female artists often acted as patrons and supporters of one another, fostering a network of encouragement and collaboration amid the constraints they faced. These women shared knowledge and techniques, creating a unique community that nurtured their talents. Picture them gathering in each other's homes, sharing advice and inspiration, their laughter ringing out as they exchanged ideas and aspirations. While the mainstream art world might have overlooked their contributions, the legacy of these women was undeniable. They paved the way for future generations of female artists, proving that talent knows no gender. The impact of their work reverberates through history, offering a counter-narrative to the dominant tales of male artists and challenging the exclusivity of the art world. As you reflect on the powerful stories of these women, consider how their struggles and triumphs enrich our understanding of the broader artistic landscape of the 16th century. They remind us that art has always been a space for expression, transformation, and resilience, regardless of the barriers one faces. With these hidden narratives illuminated, let's now turn our attention to the complex relationship between religion and representation in the art of the time. This interplay not only shaped the subject matter of many works but also influenced the fates of the artists themselves, often leading to unexpected consequences. As you delve deeper into the heart of 16th century Dutch art, let's uncover the intricate relationship between religion and representation. Picture the vibrant scenes that adorn the walls of churches, the delicate interplay of light and shadow in paintings depicting biblical narratives, and the religious fervor that permeated the lives of both artists and patrons. For many, art was a means of spiritual expression, a way to convey the divine narrative to a society hungry for meaning in tumultuous times. The glamorous illusion of this period is that religious art was a straightforward reflection of faith, with painters merely serving as conduits for divine inspiration. The public image of artists, portraying saints, biblical events, and moral lessons suggests a harmonious relationship between faith and creativity, one where beauty and piety coalesce seamlessly on canvas. These paintings were revered for their intricate details and emotional depth, often serving as focal points in homes and churches alike. However, the shocking reality is that the world of religious art was fraught with challenges and contradictions. The Protestant Reformation, which swept through the Netherlands during the 16th century, fundamentally changed the landscape of religious expression. The Reformation brought about a fierce debate on the role of images in worship, leading some to denounce religious paintings as idolatrous. Imagine the tension within the artistic community as painters grappled with the implications of this movement. The rise of Protestantism prompted many artists to shift their focus away from traditional religious themes, instead exploring secular subjects or depicting more intimate, personal expressions of faith. This shift created a complex dichotomy, where painters had to navigate the expectations of patrons while remaining true to their artistic vision. The transition from church commissions to private patronage marked a significant turning point, forcing artists to adapt to the evolving spiritual landscape. Consider the case of a painter who, once celebrated for grand altar pieces, now finds himself navigating the new demands of the market. He begins to explore genre scenes, a focus on everyday life in still lifes that, while devoid of explicit religious themes, still carry subtle references to morality and virtue. Imagine him standing in front of a canvas, uncertain but inspired, capturing the essence of a moment that speaks to the human experience rather than a direct religious narrative. Moreover, the relationship between religion and representation extended beyond mere subject matter. The ways in which artists imbued their works with symbolism and allegory became a means of navigating the shifting cultural tides. A flower in a still life might represent the fleeting nature of life, while a simple loaf of bread could symbolize the divine provision. The challenge lay in communicating these themes without directly confronting the prevailing religious sentiments. Artists had to be both skilled craftsmen and astute observers of their society, deftly weaving complex narratives into their work. This delicate balance often created a tension between the sacred and the secular, leading to unexpected consequences for the artists involved. Imagine the scrutiny they faced from both religious leaders and the public, each with their own set of expectations and beliefs. The risk of being accused of heresy or blasphemy loomed large, particularly in a society grappling with the implications of the Reformation. A painter's choice of subject matter could not only affect their reputation, but also endanger their livelihood. Yet, amidst this uncertainty, some artists found ways to embrace the changing landscape, using their art to engage deeply with the spiritual questions of their day. They sought to capture the ineffable, translating complex theological concepts into visual language that resonated with viewers. By doing so, they contributed to a broader dialogue about faith and identity, melding their artistic aspirations with the currents of contemporary thought. As you ponder the intricate dance between religion and representation, consider how the artists of this era navigated a world filled with contradiction and change. Their ability to adapt and innovate while remaining rooted in their spiritual convictions speaks to the resilience of the creative spirit. With this understanding of the interplay between faith and artistry, let's now turn our attention to the evolving market for masterpieces. Here, we'll explore how the dynamics of supply and demand shaped the artistic landscape, influencing not only the creation of art, but also the very lives of the artists themselves. As you immerse yourself in the vibrant art market of 16th century Holland, imagine the bustling towns filled with merchants, buyers, and artists all navigating a complex web of supply and demand. The atmosphere is electric, charged with anticipation as painters showcase their latest works, eager to capture the attention of discerning patrons. In this dynamic environment, art goes beyond mere beauty. It becomes a commodity, shaped by the shifting tides of societal desires and economic realities. The glamorous illusion surrounding the art market is that it was a place where talent naturally flourished, where artists effortlessly found patrons who recognized and rewarded their genius. The public perception casts painters as revered figures, gracing salons and galleries, surrounded by admirers eager to purchase their masterpieces and elevate their homes with culture and sophistication. This idyllic image of a thriving art market suggests an uncomplicated path to success for artists willing to put in the effort. However, the shocking reality of the art market reveals a more complex and often brutal landscape. For many artists, the path to recognition was fraught with challenges, riddled with uncertainty and competition. The market was not merely a reflection of artistic talent, but was heavily influenced by social hierarchies, class distinctions, and the whims of wealthy patrons. The very survival of an artist often depended on their ability to navigate this intricate system. Imagine the pressure on a painter who has poured months of labor into a piece, only to realize that the market is saturated with similar works. The artist's heart sinks as they contemplate the reality that their masterpiece may go unnoticed amidst a sea of competition. The harsh truth is that even the most skilled artists could struggle to gain traction, as the tastes of the wealthy dictated what would sell. During this period, the rise of the middle class began to change the dynamics of the art world. As merchants and tradespeople accumulated wealth, they sought to invest in art as a means of showcasing their status. This expanding market offered new opportunities for artists, yet it also brought with it the pressure to cater to the preferences of this emerging class. The innocence of artistic expression often gave way to the necessity of satisfying commercial demands. Consider the painter who must alter their style or subject matter to appeal to potential buyers. They may find themselves creating portraits of prosperous merchants or idyllic landscapes that reflect the wealth and status of their patrons. The once pure vision of the artist becomes intertwined with the desires of the market, reshaping their creative process. The risk of losing one's authentic voice looms large, as financial stability takes precedence over personal expression. Additionally, the selling of art became an elaborate performance in itself. Artists engaged in public displays, showcasing their work at markets and exhibitions, vying for attention and fame. The process of negotiating prices and contracts could be just as daunting as the creation of the art itself. Imagine a young artist, nervously standing before a potential patron, hoping to convince them of the worth of their labor while grappling with self-doubt and the fear of rejection. Yet, amidst this fierce competition and commercialization, the art market also birthed innovation and experimentation. The demand for new and captivating works pushed artists to explore their boundaries, leading to the creation of groundbreaking techniques and styles. The pressure to stand out in a crowded field ignited a creative spark that fostered artistic growth, resulting in masterpieces that continue to captivate audiences to this day. As you consider the complexities of the art market, remember that each painting was not simply a work of art, it was a product of a dynamic interplay between creativity and commerce. The lives of the artists were inextricably linked to the evolving landscape of supply and demand, forcing them to adapt and innovate in the face of societal expectations. Now, let's explore the strain that the quest for perfection placed on these artists. The pressures to meet patron expectations, coupled with their own aspirations, often led to a tumultuous relationship with their craft. Together, we'll examine the mental and emotional toll that the pursuit of artistic excellence exacted on these remarkable creators. As you delve deeper into the psyche of 16th century Dutch painters, picture the unwavering pursuit of perfection that consumed their lives. In the dimly lit workshops, where the scent of paint mingles with the sound of brushes gently whispering across canvases, the pressure to create flawless masterpieces looms large. For these artists, the act of painting is not merely a profession, it is a relentless quest for excellence, one that often leads to a tumultuous relationship with their craft. The glamorous illusion surrounding these artists is that they were confident masters, effortlessly channeling their creativity into breathtaking works. From the outside, it appears as though they possess an innate gift, a magical ability to reproduce beauty on canvas with ease. To the public, they are revered figures, celebrated for their talent and skill, their creations gracing the finest homes and galleries. This idyllic vision of the artist's life suggests a smooth journey towards recognition and success, untinted by doubt or struggle. However, the shocking reality reveals a far more complex and often painful narrative. Behind the accolades and admiration lies a deep-seated anxiety, a pervasive fear of failure that haunts many artists. The pressure to produce perfect works weighs heavily upon them, driven by the expectations of patrons, societal standards, and their own relentless ambitions. Imagine the internal turmoil of an artist staring at a blank canvas, grappling with the profound question, can I truly create something worthy? Many artists faced immense self-doubt, feeling the weight of their aspirations pressing down with every brushstroke. The pursuit of perfection often leads to a paralyzing fear of imperfection, where even minor mistakes can feel catastrophic. Picture a painter meticulously applying layers of glaze, each stroke calibrated to achieve just the right effect, only to step back and feel a gnawing dissatisfaction. The desire for their work to resonate with viewers becomes an all-consuming obsession, distorting their creative process. Moreover, the competitive nature of the art market exacerbates these feelings of inadequacy. With so many talented artists vying for the attention of patrons, the pressure to stand out can become overwhelming. Imagine the constant comparisons, the whispers of critique that echo in the minds of painters as they witness their peers' successes. The fear of being overshadowed can lead to a frantic pursuit of novelty or perfection, pushing artists to the brink of burnout. This relentless chase for excellence introduces an ironic twist. While the artists aim to create works that transcend time, they often find themselves trapped in a cycle of self-criticism and frustration. The masterpiece they envision remains just out of reach, leading to dissatisfaction and, in some cases, despair. The psychological toll of this pursuit can be profound, resulting in emotional struggles that impact not only their art, but also their personal lives. Consider the toll of these pressures on an artist's mental health. The very act of creation, which should be a source of joy and fulfillment, can become a battleground of conflicting emotions. Many artists grapple with anxiety and depression, feeling isolated in their struggles while surrounded by the vibrant colors of their creations. The dichotomy between their inner turmoil and the beauty they create is stark, showcasing the complexities of the artistic experience. Yet, within this struggle lies the potential for growth and evolution. The quest for perfection can lead to profound breakthroughs as artists learn to embrace vulnerability and imperfection. Imagine a painter who, after grappling with self-doubt, decides to allow spontaneity into their work. They might experiment with bold colors and unexpected forms, discovering a new facet of their creativity in the process. In this light, the journey toward artistic excellence becomes not just about achieving perfection, but also about personal transformation. The artists who navigate these challenges often emerge with a deeper understanding of themselves and their craft, their struggles informing their work in profound ways. As you reflect on the pressures faced by these painters, it's essential to recognize the delicate balance they maintained between ambition and self-acceptance. The pursuit of perfection is both a driving force and a potential pitfall, shaping their identities as artists and individuals. With this understanding, let's turn our attention to how color choices in paintings reflected societal hierarchies and economic realities. The palette of the time was not merely a matter of artistic preference, it was deeply intertwined with the cultural and social fabric of 16th century Holland. As you immerse yourself in the vibrant hues of 16th century Dutch paintings, take a moment to consider the deeper implications of color choices made by artists. Each brushstroke, each vibrant shade, carries with it a wealth of meaning, reflecting not only the aesthetic preferences of the time but also the intricate social hierarchies and economic realities that defined Dutch society. The colors you see on canvas tell a story, one that intertwines art with the very fabric of life in the Netherlands during the Golden Age. The glamorous illusion surrounding color in art is that it exists solely to beautify the canvas, a simple vehicle for expression that elevates the subject matter to a realm of aesthetic pleasure. The vibrant reds, lush greens, and radiant blues appear to dance across the canvas, inviting viewers into a world of pure delight. In this narrative, color is an intrinsic aspect of artistic genius, a reflection of the artist's unique vision and talent. However, the shocking reality is that color in 16th century art was deeply implicated in the complexities of social status and economic power. The pigments used to create these stunning hues were often expensive and highly sought after, and their availability was directly tied to the wealth and status of both the artist and the patron. Imagine a painter in their workshop, carefully selecting from a palette of vibrant pigments, each color a symbol of affluence and influence. For instance, the rich ultramarine blue, derived from lapis lazuli, was one of the costliest pigments available at the time. This magnificent hue was reserved for the most important subjects, such as the robes of the Virgin Mary and religious paintings. When patrons commissioned works featuring ultramarine, they were not just asking for beauty, they were making a statement about their social standing. By showcasing their wealth through the colors of their commissioned pieces, they signaled their status to others. Similarly, the use of gold leaf to illuminate certain elements of a painting served both an aesthetic and a symbolic purpose. The shimmering gold not only added opulence to the work, but also reinforced the notion of divine light, elevating the subject matter into a realm of holiness. To adorn a painting with gold was to assert its importance and the prestige of its owner. This practice creates a vivid connection between color and the assertion of power dynamic that permeated the art world during this period. As you explore these rich palettes, consider how they corresponded to the social hierarchies of the time. Artists often tailored their color choices based on the expectations of their patrons, reflecting the prevailing attitudes about class and status. The wealthy sought to display their sophistication through their art, leading to a preference for colors that conveyed luxury and refinement. The more muted tones of browns and greys often appeared in works commissioned by less affluent patrons who might not have had the means to invest in the vibrant colors reserved for the elite. Moreover, the accessibility of certain pigments influenced artistic trends and styles. The rise of middle-class patrons during this period introduced new demands for artworks that resonated with their experiences and tastes. As a result, artists began to explore different themes and color palettes, adapting to the preferences of this emerging clientele. This shift not only broadened the artistic landscape but also highlighted the intersection of art and societal change. Consider a painter creating a still life for a modest merchant opting for earthier tones and more readily available pigments. They craft a work that speaks to the everyday realities of their client. In this context, the colors chosen are not merely decorative, they serve as a reflection of the socio-economic conditions and aspirations of the individuals commissioning the work. Yet, beyond the economic implications, color in Dutch art also held emotional resonance. The choice of palette could evoke feelings, convey narratives, and create atmospheres. Artists understood that color could communicate messages beyond mere aesthetics, using warm hues to elicit feelings of comfort or cool tones to evoke a sense of melancholy. This emotional depth transforms each painting into a multi-layered experience, allowing viewers to connect with the work on a visceral level. As you absorb the significance of color in these paintings, it becomes evident that every hue is steeped in meaning, intricately linked to the societal conditions of the time. Colors reflect not just the artist's skill but also the complex web of social dynamics that shaped their world. With this understanding of color as a reflection of societal hierarchies in mind, let's now turn our attention to the art of portraiture. This genre played a significant role in shaping public perception and personal legacy, revealing the interplay between identity, status, and artistic representation. As you journey into the world of 16th century Dutch portraiture, envision the grand halls adorned with striking likenesses of the wealthy and powerful. These portraits are not mere representations of individuals, they are crafted narratives, encapsulating social status, identity, and the intricate dance of power and perception. The act of commissioning a portrait was a significant statement, a deliberate effort to project an image that would endure beyond the artist's final brushstroke. The glamorous illusion of portraiture is that it captures the essence of the subject with an almost divine accuracy, immortalizing an individual in time. The polished surfaces and meticulous details create an impression of perfection, reflecting the prestige and character of the person depicted. In this romanticized view, the artist is seen as a gifted master who can unveil the true nature of their subject, illuminating their virtues and accomplishments for posterity. However, the shocking reality beneath the surface is that portraiture was often a carefully constructed fade, molded by the expectations of both the sitter and society. The process of creating a portrait was not simply an act of artistic expression, it was a negotiation between the artist and their patron, rife with pressure to conform to societal norms and ideals. Imagine the tension in the studio as the artist seeks to understand the desires of the individual seated before them, all while grappling with their own vision. The sitters, aware of how they would be perceived through the painting, frequently dictated the terms of their representation. They might request specific poses, attire, and attributes that emphasize their wealth, power, or social accomplishments. For instance, a merchant might insist on being depicted in opulent clothing, surrounded by symbols of success, perhaps a ledger or an exotic fruit signifying their wealth and status. In this way, the portrait serves as a document of identity, a visual manifesto that reflects not just the individual but the societal hierarchies of the time. Consider the implications of this dynamic. The artist, while skilled in their craft, must navigate the delicate balance between their own artistic integrity and the desires of the sitter. The pressure to please could lead to compromises in the portrayal, where the final image may reflect more of the societal ideals than the true essence of the individual. This often results in portraits that, while technically exquisite, lack authenticity, a mere reflection of the artist's talents rather than a genuine representation of the person. Additionally, the advent of portraiture in the 16th century coincided with the rise of the middle class, creating new opportunities for artists and shifting the dynamics of representation. The wealthy merchant class began to seek portraits as a means of solidifying their status in society, leading to an increase in demand for artworks that conveyed their aspirations and accomplishments. This cultural shift not only led to a greater diversity of sitters, but also broadened the themes explored in portraiture, as artists began to grapple with the complexities of identity beyond the traditional aristocracy. In this context, the portraits produced by artists during this period reveal a fascinating interplay between identity and societal expectations. Each painting captures not just an external likeness but also an internal struggling reflection of how individuals sought to define themselves within a rapidly changing social landscape. Portraits become more than just images. They are windows into the very soul of the society that produced them. Moreover, the legacy of these portraits extends beyond their immediate context, influencing how individuals would be remembered long after their passing. The careful construction of identity through portraiture allowed sitters to shape their own narratives, ensuring that future generations would perceive them in a particular light. This interplay between art and legacy underscores the profound power of representation, as the images created in the 16th century continue to resonate in contemporary discussions of identity and memory. As you contemplate the complexities of portraiture, remember that these works serve as both artistic achievements and cultural artifacts, each one a testament to the negotiation of identity within a society steeped in tradition and aspiration. Now that we have explored the intricate relationship between identity, status, and artistic representation, let's shift our focus to the daily lives of these artists. Imagine their routines, their struggles, and the mundane aspects of their existence that shaped the creative processes behind their celebrated works. As you step into the daily lives of 16th century Dutch painters, imagine a world that blends the sublime with the mundane, where the act of creation is woven into the fabric of everyday existence. Picture the artist rising with the dawn, the soft light filtering through their workshop window, illuminating a space filled with canvases, brushes, and palettes smeared with vibrant hues. This is where inspiration meets reality, where the pursuit of art is intermingled with the challenges of life in a bustling society. The glamorous illusion of the life of an artist is that it is one of unbridled creativity and passion, where each day is an adventure filled with artistic exploration. The public perception often romanticizes the notion of the tortured genius, envisioning painters, consumed by their craft, painting feverishly into the night, driven by bursts of inspiration. This idea paints a picturesque scene of artistic solitude, where the artist's struggles are merely the backdrop for their monumental achievements. However, the shocking reality is that the daily life of these painters was often characterized by routine, labor, and the constant pressure to produce. Imagine the artist waking each day, not only to create but also to fulfill the practical obligations of their trade. Commissions awaited, payments had to be negotiated, and the relentless pursuit of providing for oneself and one's family loomed large. The romanticized notion of artistry often glosses over the fact that many painters relied on their craft as a source of income, making their livelihoods precarious and uncertain. Consider the artist who, after a long day in the workshop, finds themselves exhausted, yet the demands of the craft call them back to the easel. The hours spent preparing materials, stretching canvases, and mixing pigments are often overshadowed by the actual act of painting. Each brushstroke, while an expression of creativity, is also part of a calculated effort to meet deadlines and satisfy the expectations of patrons. The pressures of maintaining a steady stream of income transform what could be a pure passion into a daily grind, where the joy of creation can be overshadowed by the burden of obligation. Moreover, the social dynamics of the time influenced the artist's routine. The workshops were often communal spaces where artists collaborated and critiqued each other's work. Imagine the lively discussions that took place, punctuated by laughter and rivalry, as painters shared techniques or debated the merits of a particular style. Yet, this collaboration was not without its challenges. The competitive nature of the environment often fueled a sense of urgency, pushing artists to create quickly and under pressure, lest they fall behind their peers. As you visualize this bustling workshop culture, consider how the daily life of an artist extended beyond the confines of their studio. Many artists were engaged in the wider community, attending markets, visiting patrons, or participating in guild meetings. The intermingling of social interactions and professional obligations added layers to their daily lives, creating a multifaceted existence that was both rich and demanding. Despite the challenges, there were moments of inspiration and joy that punctuated the routine. The excitement of a new idea igniting a painter's imagination, the satisfaction of completing a piece, or the thrill of receiving a commission could invigorate their spirits. Picture an artist stepping back from a completed canvas, a sense of pride swelling within them as they realize they have captured a fleeting moment of beauty. Yet, the emotional toll of balancing routine, creativity, and societal expectations can be overwhelming. Many artists grappled with feelings of inadequacy, doubting their skills or fearing that their work would not be well received. The spectre of competition loomed large, as they faced the daunting reality that their success was inextricably tied to public perception. The need to produce for both financial security and artistic ambition created a tightrope walk that could lead to anxiety and self-doubt. In this light, the daily lives of 16th-century Dutch painters reveal a tapestry of struggle and triumph, of creativity intertwined with obligation. Their existence encapsulates the challenges of pursuing art in a world that demands both excellence and productivity. As you reflect on the intricate balance these artists navigated daily, consider the lasting impact of their routines on the art they produced. This brings us to the legacy of Dutch art itself, a rich tapestry that continues to influence and inspire generations of artists and art lovers alike. Let's explore how the distinctive styles and innovations of these painters have resonated through the ages, leaving an indelible mark on the world of art. As you contemplate the legacy of 16th-century Dutch art, envision a vibrant tapestry woven from the unique styles and innovations of the painters who emerged during the Dutch Golden Age. Their contributions reverberate through time, influencing not only their contemporaries, but also generations of artists and art movements that followed. Each brushstroke, each innovation, encapsulates the spirit of an era characterized by creativity, resilience, and a profound understanding of the human experience. The glamorous illusion surrounding the legacy of these artists is that their works stand as timeless masterpieces, effortlessly transcending the boundaries of time and culture. From the intimate domestic scenes of Johannes Vermeer to the dramatic chiaroscuro of Rembrandt's portraits, the imagery evokes a sense of beauty and mastery that continues to captivate audiences today. The public perception is that these artists, through sheer talent, achieved a level of greatness that is beyond reach for most. However, the shocking reality is that the legacies of these painters were shaped not just by their artistic genius, but also by the broader cultural and socio-political context in which they operated. The art produced during this period was a reflection of the complexities of Dutch society, intertwined with the historical events and economic realities that influenced the artists' lives. Their innovations were often responses to the challenges and opportunities presented by the world around them. Consider the techniques used by these painters that have become foundational to the art world. The meticulous attention to detail, the innovative use of light and shadow, and the exploration of everyday subjects marked a departure from the grand historical and religious themes prevalent in earlier art. The rise of still life, genre scenes, and domestic interiors reflected a shift in focus toward the experiences of ordinary people, an acknowledgement that beauty and significance could be found in the mundane aspects of life. As you explore these innovations, think about how they paved the way for future movements, influencing the likes of Impressionism and Realism in the centuries to come. The emphasis on capturing light, the interplay of colors, and the portrayal of everyday life can all be traced back to the bold experiments of Dutch painters. This legacy is not merely one of aesthetic achievement, it also embodies a philosophical shift in how artists approach their subjects and their craft. Moreover, the impact of these painters reached beyond the canvas. Their work became a crucial part of cultural identity in the Netherlands, shaping national pride and contributing to a burgeoning sense of self. In a society marked by political upheaval and the quest for independence, the art produced during this time represented not just individual expressions, but collective aspirations. The paintings served as visual narratives, encapsulating the hopes and struggles of a nation seeking to define itself amid changing tides. However, the legacy of Dutch art is not without its complexities. As time passed, the romanticized images of this golden age began to reveal the underlying truths about the artists' lives, their struggles, the societal pressures they faced, and the compromises they often made. While their masterpieces may seem untouched by the burdens of their creators, the reality is that each painting carries the weight of personal and collective narratives, stories of ambition, anxiety, and perseverance. As you absorb the enduring influence of these artists, remember that their legacies are intricately tied to the evolution of art itself. The innovations they pioneered continue to inspire and challenge artists today, urging them to explore new techniques, subjects, and narratives. The idea that art can transcend time and speak to the human experience is a testament to the profound impact these painters had on the world. Now that we've reflected on the rich legacy left by these remarkable artists, let's turn our attention to the bittersweet decline of the Dutch art scene. What factors contributed to its eventual waning, and how did this shift shape the cultural landscape that followed? Prepare to explore the intersection of art and history as we unravel the complexities of this transformative period. As you delve into the bittersweet decline of the Dutch art scene, imagine the vibrant world that once flourished with creativity and innovation beginning to fade. The halls that once echoed with the admiration of patrons and the bustle of workshops now feel quieter, as the forces that propelled the Dutch Golden Age slowly begin to unravel. The vibrancy of the art scene that had captivated Europe was facing numerous challenges that would ultimately alter its course, leading to a tragic yet transformative decline. The glamorous illusion of the Dutch art market in its prime was one of continuous growth and prosperity, a realm where artists thrived under the patronage of an increasingly wealthy middle class. The scene was one of endless opportunities, bustling with creativity and commercial success, as Dutch paintings garnered admiration and high prices across Europe. It was easy to believe that this flourishing era would last indefinitely, a utopia of artistic endeavor where talent met opportunity. However, the shocking reality reveals that the very foundations of this art scene were precarious, subject to the whims of economic fluctuations and societal changes. By the latter half of the 17th century, the political and economic climate in the Netherlands began to shift dramatically. The Dutch Republic, once a beacon of commerce and trade, faced increasing challenges, including military conflicts and economic competition from other nations. As tensions mounted, the winds of change swept through the art world, leaving artists and patrons alike to grapple with uncertainty. As the economic landscape became more strained, the once flourishing demand for art began to wane. The burgeoning middle class, which had previously supported artists with their commissions, found themselves facing their own financial struggles amid rising taxes and trade disputes. With fewer patrons willing or able to invest in artwork, the market began to contract, and the vibrant color palettes that once adorned the walls of homes began to dull. Imagine artists who once thrived on commissions, now struggling to find buyers for their works, their hopes dimming as the fervor of the art market dissipated. This decline was compounded by shifting cultural attitudes towards art itself. As the art world became saturated with paintings, a sense of fatigue set in among collectors and patrons. The novelty of acquiring new works diminished, leading to an overabundance of art that made it difficult for individual pieces to stand out. What was once a dynamic and competitive environment turned into one fraught with disillusionment. The artists who had once enjoyed the fruits of their labor now faced a harsh reality where their skills were no longer in demand. Consider the heartache of an artist whose paintings, once celebrated, are now relegated to the shadows of obscurity. The passion that fueled their work becomes overshadowed by a sense of desperation as they navigate a market that no longer values their contributions. The vibrant life they had known as creators fades into a distant memory, leaving behind a stark contrast between the past glory of the Dutch Golden Age and the reality of their current struggles. Moreover, the decline of the Dutch art scene also coincided with the evolving tastes of the European art market. As new artistic movements emerged, such as the Baroque style flourishing in other regions, artists found themselves competing not only with each other but also with fresh ideas and aesthetics. Once unified Dutch art scene became fragmented, as painters grappled with the need to adapt to changing tastes while remaining true to their artistic roots. As the 18th century dawned, the remnants of the Dutch Golden Age began to take on a nostalgic quality. The art that had once captured the essence of daily life and societal aspirations was now viewed through the lens of history, an era remembered fondly but increasingly distant from contemporary realities. The decline of the art scene served as a bittersweet reminder of the transience of cultural movements, where even the most vibrant periods can fade into memory. Yet, amid this decline, the legacy of the Dutch artists endured. Their innovative techniques and profound exploration of subjects continued to resonate with later generations, influencing movements that would emerge in the centuries to come. The struggles of these artists, the challenges they faced, and the beauty they created remain etched in the annals of art history. serving as powerful lessons about the intersection of creativity, society, and the passage of time. As you reflect on the complexities of the decline of the Dutch art scene, consider the resilience of the artistic spirit that persists even in the face of adversity. This brings us to our final exploration, a contemplative wind down that invites you to consider the stories we've uncovered and the enduring beauty of the art that emerged from this extraordinary era. As we come to the final chapter of our journey through the surprisingly relaxed yet tumultuous lives of 16th century Dutch painters, let's take a moment to reflect on the intricate tapestry we've woven together. Picture the vibrant colours, the emotional struggles, and the dynamic interplay of art and society that have shaped this narrative. The world of Dutch painters was not merely a chapter in art history, it was a rich exploration of the human experience, an intricate dance between beauty, ambition, and the complexities of life. Throughout this journey, we have encountered the glamorous illusions that often surround the lives of artists, the romantic notions of genius and inspiration that paint them as solitary figures, immersed in their craft. Yet, as we peeled back the layers, the shocking realities emerged. We witnessed the pressures of patronage, the toxic materials that coloured their canvases, and the societal expectations that shaped their identities. The lives of these artists were filled with both triumph and turmoil, revealing a nuanced portrait of dedication, creativity, and resilience. Consider the world they inhabited, a society marked by political upheaval, economic fluctuations, and shifting cultural dynamics. The Dutch Golden Age was a reflection of a time when art was not just a means of expression, but a vital component of identity and cultural pride. Each painting produced in this period was not merely a work of art, it was a statement about society, a mirror reflecting the hopes, struggles, and aspirations of a nation in the throes of transformation. As we've seen, the relationships between artists and their patrons were often complex and fraught with negotiation, revealing the delicate balance between artistic integrity and commercial necessity. The pressures of the market, coupled with the quest for perfection, created an environment that could stifle creativity while simultaneously igniting innovation. These artists navigated a landscape filled with both collaboration and competition, forging connections that would shape their work and impact their legacies. The contributions of women artists, once hidden in the shadows, emerged as a vital part of this narrative, reminding us that talent and creativity know no gender. The stories of these women enrich our understanding of the artistic landscape, showcasing their resilience and ingenuity in a world that sought to confine them. As we reflect on the legacy of Dutch art, we recognize that it transcends these boundaries of time and geography. The techniques pioneered by these painters have influenced countless movements, inspiring artists to explore new territories in their own work. The emotional depth and narratives embedded in their paintings continue to resonate, inviting viewers to engage with the complexities of the human experience. Yet, the decline of the Dutch art scene serves as a poignant reminder that even the most vibrant cultural epochs are subject to change. The ebbs and flows of history teach us that art is both a reflection of society and an agent of transformation, capturing the essence of fleeting moments that define the human condition. It's a bittersweet understanding that while the golden age of Dutch painting may have come to a close, its impact endures, reverberating through the halls of art history. As you gently drift away from this exploration, let the stories of these remarkable artists linger in your mind. Their struggles and triumphs, their beauty and complexity, all converge to create a narrative that is as rich and multifaceted as the paintings they produced. This journey reminds us that art is not merely an object to be admired, it is a living testament to the human spirit, an invitation to connect with the very essence of our existence. Now, as the echoes of the past softly fade, know that the stories of these 16th century Dutch painters continue to inspire, serving as a reminder of the power of creativity and the enduring legacy of those who dared to dream on canvas.